What is the stupidest thing you have ever done to try to be cool? First time meeting all my girlfriend's friends. We go to their college pool to sit in the hot tub and hang out. Literally within 5 minutes of meeting them all, they all want to do the high dive. I'm not scared of heights at all, and I'm decently athletic, so I thought no problem. I've never done a high dive, but I can do this. Everyone else goes in front of me except for one friend I already met, who's telling me to try a flip. I'm hesitant, but you know what, I think I can do it. I run at the diving board, with all 8 of my girlfriend's friends watching me from the pool, jump and explode with all my might. One thing they don't tell you about the high five is that the board is much looser than a normal diving board. I pushed off with my legs when I would expect a normal diving board to stop descending, but the high dive was still only maybe halfway on its way down. My legs push down on air, the board comes up, throws me off, all while I'm trying to prepare for a flip. I do a 1.5 rotation, slamming my face into the water harder than I've ever hit anything. Pretty sure my eyeball was bleeding. But the friends are watching, so I'm absolutely gonna brush it off and laugh at my idiocy. About 4 days later, the swelling in my eye and forehead finally went down, one day before meeting her parents, thankfully. Said the word peeps unironically. This is very, very dumb, but I was 14, so I get some pass. I had attended a very white Catholic grade school for 8 years of my life, and the tuition for the Catholic high school was ridiculous, so my parents sent me to a brand new charter school that was an absolute shitshow, especially my freshman year, and I was so far out of my element. It was like going from weird happy, totally racist, suburbia where everyone was so well behaved to literally throwing me from there to the inner city where kids were throwing desks out the window. It was weirdly jarring, and 14-year-old me, who's possibly autistic, is doing her absolute best to blend in seamlessly with these kids. So I'm failing at blending in because it's not like I was ever cool to begin with, lol. I just remember these little teen bitches kind of harassing me and asked me what I did on the weekend, and I'm anxious and ridiculous and randomly blurted out, "I hang with my peeps." I don't blame them for laughing because, why was I like this? Fortunately, going from overly Normalville to this mess really opened me up more to the world. While I definitely would have had a better education at the Catholic HS, I learned more about the world from going there. In 4th grade, I climbed on the outside of the railing on the slide platform to impress a girl. She was up there about to go down the slide, and I was talking to her from the outside of the railing like a badass. Until one of my friends came over and pushed me off. I fell off backwards about 8 feet to the ground and landed on my wrist. I broke it in 3 places. It hurt like hell, but I still tried to be cool. I got up and told my friend that really sucked and I hurt my arm and couldn't climb up the slide anymore. After recess, I told my teacher I can't write anymore today cause I hurt my arm. She said okay, whatever. After school, I walked home and told my dad I hurt my wrist. I remember when he saw it, his eyes got real big and immediately said go get in the car. I guess it was really swollen, lol. We went to the hospital, got x-rays, and they put a cast on my arm all the way above my elbow. The next day everyone at school freaked out when they saw the cast. I was the coolest kid in school cause I broke my wrist and just went to class and didn't cry or anything. I guess it worked out okay cause I ended up a badass kid and people talked about it for years. I never did go out with that girl though. No one's gonna see this, but in 8th grade for Halloween we were at the local playground waiting for the rest of our group to meet us. It had one of those tall climbing rope towers, and I told my friend I was really good at climbing them. She pulled out her phone and timed my ascent. Everyone was pretty impressed. Then I told her to time how fast I could descend. She told me it was a bad idea, but OFC many of the others were cheering me on. I'd done this multiple times before, but I'd never done it in the Sunday flats I was wearing with my costume. Slipped on one of the ropes and fell, probably only 4 to 5, but I bounced off a lot of ropes on the way down. My leg really hurt, so I rolled up my leggings to find a 4-long friction burn. Ended up abandoning my group, save for one friend, to walk back home so I could bandage up my leg. Overall not a huge deal, the 2 of us ended up going back out and went to the rich street that hands out the full-sized candy bars, you know? Still, took a month for my leg to stop hurting entirely and almost 5 years for the scar to go away. Still an inside joke among my group, and the friend who walked me home refuses to let me on a rope tower again, lol. When I was in 10th grade, I baked dog shit cookies and fed them to a friend as a joke with my boyfriend at the time. This friend would eat anything, and that was the joke. Turns out our intended victim had been out of school throwing up for the past 24 hours and still felt a bit queasy coming into school. He tried the cookies and didn't detect the dog shit. However, when we told him, he went to the nurse's office to throw up. He didn't snitch on me, but my ex-best friend who liked him did because she was mad at me for making him look bad. I was legend at school and no one knew it. People were telling me about someone who baked dog shit and fed it to a kid. I informed them that it was me. They would laugh because I was the quiet kid who never did anything outside of norm. I was hearing people talk about it in the halls. It was crazy weird. The principal later called me into his office later, threatening me with bioterrorism. Self-preservation told me to lie. So I told him that I made it up and there was no dog shit in the cookies. However, I had thrown away the batch. He made me take him to the batch and he snatched them from the garbage. He wasn't sure what to do from there. Laws state he can't make me eat them. So he dismisses me and says he'll talk to me later. A few hours go by and he calls me back to his office. After a long and awkward silence, he informs me that he has tried one of the cookies. He says it didn't taste weird and that I would not be in trouble but not to do something like this again. I shook this man's hand at graduation. I have no idea if he was bluffing or not. But he did not study my face when he said this, so I assume he wasn't. Either way, that was definitely the dumbest thing I've ever done to try and fit in with my friends. I borrowed a skateboard from a neighbor and climbed atop my decently tall, single-story house and looked down into my pool. I didn't empty the pool of its floating toys, nor did I consider the measurement of distance from the edge of the roof to the concrete-rimmed pool. I zoomed towards the edge of the roof on the skateboard. Everything seemed to move in slow motion. Midair, the realization dawned on me. I completely overlooked the huge, inflatable rubber duck blocking my path in the pool. I not so gracefully collided with the floating duck, skidding off it like a stone in a lake, and the crowd watching me broke into a hysterical outpour of laughter. I emerged from the water, unharmed but embarrassed, holding the deflated rubber duck. It was a complete disaster. Embarrassing as it was, the failure taught me a lesson. I had done something outrageous just to be cool. And where did it land me? Drenched in pool water, holding a deflated rubber duck at the receiving end of uncontrollable laughter.